Microphone check. All right, so here we go. We have audio, so we're gonna start right away. You're ready? I'm ready. Okay, how's everybody doing today? Very good. Thank you for coming to, actually thank you to Fakher for coming to this. Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I will be your translator.
Oh, okay, very good. Why, nobody speaks English here?
Надо
Or are you
переводить
doing-
на русский кому-то. Yeah.
Okay, good. So thank you, big thank you to Fakher Hookah Tobacco for having me here and for having you join us. Fakher is one of my favorite brands, not only business-wise, but as a consumer of hookah tobacco. So thank you again, Fakher. They asked me to come here and discuss the hookah market in the US. Okay, so as far as hookah tobacco, or actually hookah culture in the United States, it kind of started, as far as I recall, in the early 2000s, maybe even late 1990s. I believe some people, groups from Middle Eastern background, whether they're Egyptian or Lebanese or any of the Middle East, would bring hookah tobacco and smoke socially among friends. And the good thing is this is what we're all still doing right now, is smoking socially among friends. So that part hasn't changed. Few hookah lounges in California at the time. But before I discovered it in the United States, I discovered it in the Middle East, in Lebanon, and I thought it was just like everybody else. If you remember the first time somebody gave you, presented you with a hookah, or you even saw one, you just fall in love instantly. First it's curious.
It was Fakher Rose for me, the first flavor actually.
Okay, Fakher Rose. I'll go back even further, before Fakher Rose. Before there was name brands, you only had a couple of flavors to choose from, usually 2 apples, that's it. And then maybe they would get crazy and they come out with a strawberry flavor. Okay, so I'm going to change topic. This gentleman just presented me with a hookah, and we'll go all the way to Russian hookah culture now. The Russian hookah culture is so advanced. It's probably the most advanced, in my opinion, in the world. If you come from maybe Germany or the Middle East, you might think like, why is Russia? Are you insulted? You're from Czech Republic, right?
In Czech Republic we have quite high standards, but Russia is the leader of the world today. They bring innovations, new products, new tobacco flavors, and they're just expanding. So I think they're the leaders.
So between, say, the mid or late 1990s till today, hookah has gone so far in innovation and the amount of products that are available. It used to be traditionally hookahs that they smoke for hundreds of years in the Middle East, especially Egypt, let's say, or even Syria, where they make old traditional hookahs. Now, you see in Russia, Russian-made hookahs, and you see around the world, you have Brazil makes hookahs, Germany makes hookahs, well, the United States makes their own hookahs, so it's come a long way. But the topic here we're talking about is hookah in the United States. I feel like we had a rapid expansion because we had brands to hit the United States. Some of the first ones, like Fakher, like Starbuzz, like Fumari, and those brands are still around today. And I think they were very innovative. And even till now, they're doing a very good job for representing hookah in the United States for the rest of the world to enjoy. Okay, so over the years, I started coming to Russia 3 years ago for Hookah Club Show, the same show we're at today. And I went to Frankfurt, Germany for Shisha Messe. And then I went to Brazil for their hookah show. And I was realizing, okay, why doesn't the United States have an expo so we can represent our brands and our hookah culture? So I started Hookah Expo worldwide 3 years ago, and it's going great. It's still not at the level that you have in Russia or in Germany or even in Brazil for that matter. There are so many great hookah markets in the world right now. So now that we have all of these expos around the world, now that we started to grow and advance in hookah everywhere in the world, every country is having issues with tobacco banning in one form or another. And I'm not sure how it's in Russia or the other countries, but in the United States right now we're under threat of government interference with our products. Okay, in the current situation, just this week, our Congress voted to ban flavored tobacco products, and this includes hookah. But although everybody's scared about it, I'm very optimistic that it will not become a reality. The reason I'm optimistic about this is because the first vote that went through Congress passed, okay? There is another level. It has to go to our Senate now. The current political climate that we have with the administration, and I'll give you a very good example. It has to go to Senate, but the Senate is majority Republican. And I don't want to bore you with politics, but the majority of Republicans are on the same side as our president, and the president has already said this is going too far. Okay, so I believe that when it goes to Senate, Senate will not approve this bill. And the example that I wanted to give you is Congress tried to impeach the president. They did impeach him, and the next step was to take it to the Senate, and the Senate did not allow him to be removed from office. So I feel like that's a good comparison with the Senate. I believe the Senate will not allow this bill to pass. Okay, and I can talk about hookah in the United States or in the rest of the world for hours, but this is a round table, so I would like to see if you guys have any questions and share in the conversation.
John, hi, my name is Jacob, and is a Vortex bowl still a thing? I think it was invented by Sahara Smoke in 2009. Does anybody still using this bowl?
Okay, I'm glad you bring. That's one of the great examples of an innovative product that came out in hookah, in, like you said, Sahara Smoke in the United States. I will bet money right now that that was the most sold bowl ever in the world for hookah tobacco. But right now, the hookah industry and market has evolved so much with so many players in the market that it's not a thing anymore. The Vortex bowl is not a thing, but they did come up with a concept that a lot of people are using, and you can see it in the current bowls that are out there today.
As well as, for example, apple on top bowls.
Which bowls?
Apple on top. Apple on top.
Oh, apple on top bowls. Yes, same thing. Apple on top bowls do very well too, but it's a unique design, and I think more people are interested in a clay bowl. Yeah, a clay bowl. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Okay.
I'm very happy to be here at this round table. I couldn't even imagine that I would be together with you at the same place. I have a question about your product, about the bow. You know that the salaries in Russia are lower than in the United States.
I didn't
The
understand.
salaries.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. And big bowls for Russia are premium segment.
Ожидается ли какая-то индексация цен для российского рынка, то есть открытие, возможно, производства на территории России для снижения стоимости чаш для потребителей?
Are you going to change the prices for the Russian market? Maybe to open here a factory for production or something like that?
Okay. First, thank you for the very kind words. Спасибо. And
Спасибо за ваши слова.
you bring up a lot of good points. I'm very happy that you like the bowls and that many Russian consumers really like the Hookahjohn bowls.
И я очень рад, что российским потребителям нравятся мои чаши.
About the pricing of them, there are many products in Russia that I find too expensive for the US.
А насчет цен, честно говоря, в России очень много продуктов, которые я лично нахожу дороговатыми для американского рынка.
Mainly when it comes to shisha pipes.
Особенно это касается кальянных трубок.
About making our bowls less priced, it's not possible at this time because of raw material pricing going up. And you have to understand these bowls, they're made by hand by artisans. And it's very hard to find people that can replicate the same product.
А насчет снижения цен, это невозможно, к сожалению, потому что, во-первых, стоимость сырья, она постоянно растет, и, во-вторых, надо понимать, что все чаще сделано вручную, и очень сложно найти людей, которые смогут повторить это в другой стране.
With that said, I'm very happy that Russia is consuming our bowls, and I'm also very happy that we have a partner in Russia who is getting a lot of quantity, and we had a discussion now to give them even more quantity so that they are available locally in Russia.
И на самом деле я считаю, что мои продукты нравятся на российском рынке. И также благодарен тому, что у нас есть дистрибьютор, который очень сильно помогает нам его продвигать. Он продает очень большое количество. Сейчас мы обсуждаем новый контракт, чтобы он мог покупать еще больше и предоставлять чаш по всей России в каждом уголке.
With that said, we are currently in research and development of making a different line of bowls that hopefully will be more affordable to any market.
Ну и на самом деле сейчас мы разрабатываем новый проект чаш, чтобы они были более доступны на рынке.
Okay. Спасибо.
Hi, Hookahjohn. I'm Rika from India. And if I could request you to share with us a few points that you would summarize would be the best approach when dealing with government authorities or regulators that has helped in the US and that we could replicate in the rest of the world.
Okay. I couldn't hear you too well, but I believe you said that how you would.
Best
I would.
approach to sort of regulate when, to deal with regulatories or the government.
Okay.
A few points that you could summarize and share.
Yes. Thank you for the question. Do you want the microphone back?
А вопрос был, каким наилучшим образом найти подход к законодательной системе по поводу кальянной индустрии.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with how every country works as far as their governments. I believe India is a democracy as well. What we do is get very active, and we have a group, like a lobby, it's called Hookah Chamber, and they get together and they approach individual politicians to get support from them. You have to... Oh, you know, so.
Ну, на самом деле, я не знаю, как работает в каждой стране мира законодательная система, правительство есть разное, но, допустим, если демократическая система, то в Америке у нас есть специальная лоббирующая группа, которая продвигает наши интересы.
You have to ask them why are they doing this prohibition. In the United States, they say it's a youth epidemic for youth smoking, and it's targeted toward vape products, which might be similar to a lot of countries in the world, the same thing.
Ну и эта лоббирующая группа должна спросить, почему есть те или иные запреты. Например, в США очень большое внимание уделяется вейп-индустрии.
You have to educate the decision makers because they are not familiar with what hookah is. You have to show them first that this is our culture and our tradition, and we've been doing it for many years. Sorry I didn't bring up India before, but India is probably one of the original hookah smokers in the planet.
Ну и надо объяснять правительству, тем, кто принимает решение, что мы отдельная индустрия, мы кальяны. Это очень большая история, долгая в мире, ну, чтобы они просто были в курсе, что это такое.
The way I approach the government officials, and I wanted them to understand first what hookah is, and like I said, tradition and culture. But if they're worried about kids smoking hookah in school, I have to demonstrate for them what a shisha is. I have to take it in and say it's this tall. You need charcoal. It lights. It takes 10-15 minutes to light, and you have to pack a bowl, and you have to put water in it. And it's so complicated that you cannot conceal this in a school bathroom as you can a vape.
Ну и, конечно, во-первых, когда я начинаю общаться с чиновниками, объясняем, что такое кальян, да, что это культура и традиция, то если они беспокойны тем, что дети в школе будут курить кальян, я вынужден показать им, что вообще такое кальян, что это целая система конструкции, нужен уголь, нужно зажечь, нужно сделать это все. Это занимает минут 10-15 минимум, это нельзя просто прийти в школьный туалет, по-быстрому его сделать и уйти.
Okay, thank you for your question. Anything else?
Спасибо за ваш вопрос.
Okay, who's this guy right here? What what are my opinions with Fakher being a traditional brand with their new look and appearance and branding.
Ну, спросили, как вы рассматриваете то, что Fakher поменял свой традиционный брендинг, и сейчас они более современные. Что по этому поводу думаете?
Okay, so as I said before, Fakher is one of my favorite brands as a consumer of smoke. So I'm very familiar with the product from the early 2000s.
Как я уже сказала, Fakher мой один из любимых брендов с точки зрения потребителя. Я его курю, наверное, с начала 2000-х годов.
I think Fakher is doing a good job by making a shift out of traditional and into something more modern because the market is changing.
Ну, я думаю, что да, нужно развиваться и нужно переходить от очень традиционных вещей к более современным, потому что рынок развивается, и мы должны идти в развитие вместе с ним.
You will always have the market that requires traditional tobacco, and those people are not going to change. It's a good thing for Fakher because you've already dominated that market. You've already done it. So I'd like to see Fakher come into something new and exciting and see what they can do with all the new brands that are coming out.
Бесспорно, на рынке всегда останутся потребители, которые любят традиционный кальян, традиционный табак, и нужно их поддерживать. Но, тем не менее, нужно разрабатывать что-то новое, так, чтобы удовлетворять спрос тех, кто хочет развиваться. И я думаю, что Fakher стоит задуматься о том, что они могут предложить, и как это сделать наиболее хорошим образом.
And now to get really technical about it, and if you don't mind, I criticize a little bit the new. I don't want to see Fakher just take the same process that they're using and add new flavors, because it's the same raw tobacco as far as I know. It might be different. I didn't test it enough. But I would like to see Fakher try to do something different, like different blends, maybe a dark tobacco, because they have the resources and the technology to maybe surpass other brands. So I would like to be involved in any discussions that you may be having with dark tobacco. He said he will work with Fakher, and thank you for taking those comments up to the higher ups there. I'd love to be involved with that company. Okay.
Спасибо. Мне было реально очень интересно поучаствовать в кампании по развитию чего-то нового именно в Fakher.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you, gentlemen, lady. Thank you very much.